Alright, we're going to start with the removal of the head. And when you remove the head, of course I've never done this, but first thing we got to do is start right here. Got a little lock washer on there. Since mine's a 1980 model, I don't have all the stuff inside. Don't have a Pamco. So there's the bearing seals. 18 bucks for a pair of them seals. And of course I forgot to order them. There's one side down. And I'm going to do the other side and it'll be just the same as this side. Hopefully no problems. You see what it's, there's the cam. And I'm going to go remove the other cover from the other side. And I will return after that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to pull is the oil tube. When you pull the oil tube, you need to make sure that you pay attention to how the washers come off. Okay. One washer is still on the banjo bolt. And as well on the other banjo bolt. You should get new crush washers when you purchase the oil kit. Or there's actually a crush washer kit. I think it's like 10 or 9 washers. I don't know if you can see what let me move the camera here. It's got two fittings, so you need 2 wrenches. One to hold the bottom fitting steady, so and the second one you loosen up to right, just like a normal fitting. Once you get it loose enough, you're not going to need the wrench down there anymore. Okay. Now, one of the washers came up on the bottom of this one of the crush washers, and the other one stayed up on the head. So when you remove your fitting, when you remove your oil tube, you got one left, make sure to remove it. Okay? And then there's your bottom fitting. I suggest the first thing I would do, and what I'm going to do, is cover this fitting here so I don't get anything in there while I'm doing other stuff. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Alright, the next thing I'm going to take off is the tappet covers. I like to mark everything with baggies and label them and put everything in baggies. That way later on I have not got to figure it all out. Plus, as you can see, I'm shooting a video because I've pulled plenty of different kinds of engines apart, but I've never pulled apart a motorcycle engine. Pulled apart a jet engine. Alright, I'm going to label these and I'll be right back with you. Alright, well, with that done, now I'm going to remove the two spark plugs. Now, I can see that we've got, the next thing is going to be 4 cover bolts, 8 cylinder head bolt or nuts, Alright, you get the gist. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I bagged and labeled the stuff. Let's see if we can get this thing off. I sure hope something ain't popping out that I don't know about. Them 4 outside ceiling washers sure can hold that head in place. At least that's what I hope it's holding it in place. There we go. There we go. There's the inside. There's the inside of the top of the head. Alright. Let me put this down. I'll be right back. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is remove the cam chain tensioner. I've already loosened this up. And I loosened up the lock nut too. Looks in pretty good shape. Okay, we just took off the cam chain tensioner. As you can see, the cam chain is loose, and I've already pried up the cam. I loosened it. What I'm going to do is show you an option to pull to cutting the link. What I'm gonna do is leave the chain together, and when I go to reinstall this, I'm just going to reinstall it with this chain, then pull in the new chain after I reinstall it, or I may cut it in between, but I'm just showing you an option to cutting the chain previously and hanging it over to both sides. I have run 2 pieces of wire around the chain right here and here. Let's see if how this will work. So this is my plan, to remove the bearing. In this case, bearings. Maybe I should have cleaned that a little bit. And the cam is out. Now if you've seen, I have a video where I showed where the mark is going to be placed when I reinstall the cam chain. Since I've never done this before, that's the reason I'm doing it this way. I have a better chance of getting that chain on in the correct place. I'll be back. Okay, I'm gonna pull the head. We got 3 bolts left, one here, one down here, and one here. I already loosened the nuts, or the bolts.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm back. I got the trusty tool, the old rubber-headed mallet. And what looks like to be a good place would be right underneath the card mounts. Voila. I wish I knew more about this cam chain and whether it'll slide off the bottom. I saw some Germans breaking one of these down the other day, and they're professionals though, and I am not. They just dropped the cam chain right down in the bottom, fished it out later. I'm going to do something here, so I got to figure out a way to hold that up for myself until I guess I could just pick it right up and then strap it back over. If I had another set of hands. Well, I think we're about ready to come off. Well, let me see about getting another set of hands here. Be right back. Alright. Let's see how this works out. Got me a little fiberglass. Well, if I had another set of hands, which I don't, I just have me. So we'll see if this even works out for me. There's always something coming out that I don't expect. It's one reason why I shoot these videos. Well, you can tell I was running it rich. Anyway, this is how far I've got right now. I'll be right back. Alright, I got the head put down. And the reason I was pulling this apart is I felt like I was getting a lot of noise coming from my cam chain guide up front area, because I felt like the black part came off of it, and indeed, see if I can get this in here, it's gone. Which, yep, it's broke off down there, and it's just started. So when the apparently that was the problem. Anyway, that makes me feel a little better knowing that that seems to be the problem. What it would only hit seemed like when this master link is like a peanut link, and when that link would get up to the top of that, apparently it was hitting. At least that's what it's appearing to be so far. Of course, I now need to pull the jugs. Because if you're going to pull the head, you might as well pull the jugs at this point. I'm replacing the cam chain tensioner, so you're not going to be changing that without pulling the jugs. And might as well clean up the pistons. And it looks like I've got lots of carbon. I am one of them guys. Now, of course, I haven't been having this motor for that long, a few months. But one of those guys that runs his engine a little rich. I've in the airplane hobby, and with air-cooled airplane engines, they last a lot longer when you run them a little rich than when you run them lean and run the temperatures hot. Hot is destruction. I was looking down inside trying to figure out how, let's see if I can get this so you can see. How the gear was on the crankshaft, because I've never been inside one. I've only seen pictures. So anyway, I'd asked the question about the timing chain. So I figured out by looking at how this works, the as long as you get the crank in the top dead center and pull the cam and get the cam where it needs to be, which is with the mark straight up and down. Pull the chain from the front and then pull it over the sprocket on the cam chain from the front first, and then bring the cam chain up around from the back, and then you will have the right amount of teeth. That's what I'm deducing. Well, anyway, don't go through everything I went through with leaving the cam chain together. Like the manual said, cut the link. I should have, because I mean, if you're gonna change the rear tensioner, see the hard post that keeps the front together, keeping the part strong. Although this part doesn't look like anywhere near as good, tough a part as this other one that's in there. It looks a little weak. But anyway, there ain't no sense in going through this, because you have to cut the chain if you're going to replace this, because the chain goes through that side and out this side, and there's a post in the middle. Alright, I've already removed one link, but I thought I would get you guys in on the or one pin, but not the link. Getting ready to move the other pin. I did grind the heads down on this side here, so it wouldn't be a big deal to push through. There we go. And don't forget to still have a link in there or a pin inside your anvil, don't forget to push it all the way out. First one came out. Second one came out, so there we go. Got a little ahead of myself and took the other piston off, but I thought I'd show you. So you have these little snap rings that are inside this thing. I already had it ready to come out. They're real easy to get out. And more than likely I'll have to knock this out. I'm going to just push it out with my finger. Yep. So what I like to do, what I'm going to do, hold the piston in my hand, like so. Use this little wooden stick. a little bit further. Just as easy as that. So they're going to get a cleaning now.